Okay, we're here doing a nutritional counseling session on my sister. She is a 40-year-old female Caucasian not taking any medications. Her most recent cavity was about a year ago. She's had 12 fillings in her life and a couple of crowns. I've done an extra oral exam and it looks like it is within normal limits. I did her intraoral exam and her tissues look to be within normal limits. I did notice several of the crowns, but overall, she looks to have a pretty healthy mouth. Missy has her food log printed and circled. She believes the foods to be cariogenic on her food log to be a cinnamon roll, some cherry jelly hearts, a s'mores Pop Tart, a Coke soda, some caramel kisses, a s'mores Pop Tart, and a turtle cheesecake, and another Coke. I also have your meal summary report for the 3 days you tracked, and I did the food group report and the nutrient intake. And I have also highlighted the cariogenic foods in your food log. I added some cereal to it and the cheese with her chili and her chips. I also added chicken cacciatore, some strawberries, some movie theater popcorn, a Special K protein bar. Her cheeseburger she had, her bun would be cariogenic, and also the cheese. And then some pizza and breaded mushrooms. We're doing this session to make you aware of what you eat and their relationship to your dental health. She has no medical findings of concern. We can see that everything by your food log, with all the highlighting on it and with all the circling on it, we can see that almost everything you eat is causing cavities in your mouth. So we would want to maybe limit some of these highlighted items and go towards more non-cariogenic foods. She has no food allergies or any disabilities to influence her diet. And now we can start to look at my flip chart and see what cariogenic means. So right here in my flip chart, we can see that cariogenic foods are carbohydrates that can be broken down in the mouth and cause the salivary pH to drop below 5.5, promoting decalcification, which means it causes cavities. Some of the foods listed here are crackers, chips, cookies, sweets, sugars, cereal, bread, fruits, processed foods, dairy products, and dairy products containing lactose. And then I'll show you what the non-cariogenic foods are, which is on the next page. So these foods inhibit caries and do not cause a drop in salivary pH and do not cause cavities. So examples would be eggs, fish, meat, vegetables, fats, and sugarless gums. And then here in my flip chart, we have the caries process. So this explains the caries process, this is actually a really good picture. It shows that the sugar and the bacteria equal acid on the teeth, and then the acid plus your healthy tooth surface is going to equal decay. And then I also have it written out up here. And it says to start the caries process or get a cavity, first you need a susceptible tooth surface, which you obviously have. You need to eat cariogenic foods, so foods that cause cavities, which according to your food log, you're consuming those foods. And then you have bacteria in your mouth at all times, so you have those. And then your limited saliva or saliva lacking minerals. Seems like you don't have any dry mouth due to your medications or anything. And the bacteria and the sugar produces acid, which is what this picture shows. And then, so if you don't brush your teeth, the acid will demineralize the tooth surface and form decay. So we need good toothbrushing and at-home care is good for your teeth. We already mentioned what you circled on your log and what I added. I added the Raisin Bran and granola bar because the processed food has a lot of sugar, and it's more of a simple carbohydrate, so it's gonna break down in your mouth and cause the decay. I added the chicken cacciatore and the breaded mushrooms and pizza because the breading is more of a simple carbohydrate and the crust would be a simple carb that's going to break down in the mouth easily too. So that's going to be a cariogenic food. And the strawberry and grapes are actually fruit and they're broken down in the mouth too pretty quickly. So those are also cariogenic foods. Only things that really aren't on your food log that would be considered non-cariogenic are the carrots in the water for sure. Those would be great for your mouth. The meat, if you don't put breading on it, it's going to be non-cariogenic as well. I mentioned simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates. In my flip chart, I have a couple pages that go over them. So here's the complex carbohydrates. So they are the starch and fiber that break down slower than simple carbs and supply vitamins and minerals. And since they do break down slower, the complex carbs do not contribute to the caries development like simple carbohydrates do. And they're nutritionally the most important carbohydrate. They occur naturally as a plant source and are not processed. So vegetables, whole grains, rice, potatoes, and corn. The next page is the simple carbohydrates. The body breaks down the simple carbohydrates quickly. Since they break down quickly in the mouth, they contribute to the caries process. These are the sugars that bacteria joins with and produces acid to form decay. They are quick energy with little nutritional value. So some examples would be sugar, milk, and dairy, and processed fruit juice. I've already looked a little bit ahead and looked at your nutrition intake, and it looks like you were under for your whole grains. So you'd want to go back to this page and for your complex carbs, work on getting some of those in, some of the vegetables and whole grains, and limiting some of those simple carbs. Also looking at your nutrition intake, we can see you're under in some of these nutrients, like calcium and potassium and magnesium. But then you're over in your intake of sodium, but you are okay with your copper, iron, phosphorus, selenium, and zinc. In your food groups chart, your whole grains, all vegetables, fruits, and dairy, and protein and oils you were under in. And then you were over in your refined grains, added sugars, and saturated fat. So you're going to want to add...
Revamp the diet.
We need to add some more natural, non-processed items to your food log. So maybe instead of like Raisin Bran in the morning, you could try like a whole grain toast and an egg, because that would increase your protein as well. Instead of like the cinnamon roll you had on this day, you could try fruit as like a sweet. And then like with your caries history, you could try more raw veggies. That would be a great choice as a snack. So the one time you had carrots, so maybe add, what's another vegetable you'd like?
Oh, raw vegetables. I can do cauliflower, broccoli.
Yeah, so those would be good choices.
And it'll be a little easier to do this summer since we have gardens.
Well,
Fresh veggies.
That'll be nice. What did you learn from this activity?
the surprising amount of foods that actually cause cavities.
Isn't it surprising? Were you surprised by some of those things I highlighted that you had circled? You thought the chicken cacciatore was not cariogenic, whereas I said it was because it was breaded in pasta, had pasta around it.
Right, yeah, the pasta definitely. Yeah, I suppose. I guess I never even would have thought pastas and breads would have caused cavities. You know, I think of more, you think more of this just plain sweets.
Right. And the Coke, I know you like your pop, but obviously water is what we can use to neutralize our mouth and kind of wash away some of the unneeded sugars and carbohydrates in our mouth too, to rinse it and neutralize it. Anything? Do you have any questions?
I do not. You've done a great job of covering the information.
All right, I think that's it then. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.